Good morning, children. Today let us see about the mechanism of photosynthesis. We'll have a short recap of this particular process of mechanism of photosynthesis. Right? Now, so the mechanism of photosynthesis in plants is divided into two steps or two phases. So first type of the reactions they are called as light reactions because they require compulsorily light, so they can be carried out only in the presence of the light. So these are called as light reactions. These are also called as, because several chemical reactions will take place here in the presence of light, so which are chemical reactions. That is the reason why this particular phase or stage is also called photochemical phase. Photochemical phase, right? Next coming to, because it is compulsory to have the light here, so these reactions are also called as light dependent reactions or Hill reactions. Once again, light dependent reactions or Hill reactions. So this is the first part of the mechanism of photosynthesis, right? So now let us move into the stepwise reactions here. So these particular light reactions are carried out under 3 steps. So step 1 we have. So in step 1, what happens is the chlorophyll molecule, which is at the normal state or the ground state, gets activated by absorbing the energy coming from the light particles called photons. Now the chlorophyll becomes highly excited. So the chlorophyll becomes highly excited molecule. Excited. Now this particular excited chlorophyll molecule in the second step, so what does it do? So it breaks up the water molecule. So breaking the water molecule. So already we have seen in the photosynthetic equation that raw materials required for the photosynthesis are carbon dioxide, water, sunlight and chlorophyll, right? So the water which is absorbed by the plants, so now it is broken down or it is splitted or it is separated. So this process of breaking down water molecule by the highly activated chlorophyll molecule into hydrogen ions, H plus ions and OH minus ions, that is hydroxyl ions. So this process is called as photolysis, or it is called as photolysis. This process is called as photolysis. So who breaks the water molecule here? So highly energized chlorophyll molecule or excited molecule which is having plenty of energy here. The amount of energy here is the quantum amount of energy coming from the photons, light particles called photons. So after breaking this particular light water molecule, so now we are getting two products here. So one sort of first type of the product we are getting is hydrogen ions, H plus ions, and the second type of the product we are getting is hydroxyl ions, OH minus ions. Now this particular hydroxyl ions are undergoing a series of reactions and they produce the water. So water is produced from hydroxyl ions and along with this we are getting oxygen gas. Now this gas, oxygen gas, is the 21% of oxygen which is given by the plants during the process called as photosynthesis. Right? Once again, the hydroxyl ions which are released because of breaking the water molecule are converted into H2O, water and oxygen. This water is absorbed by the plants and the oxygen here which is produced by the plants is released into the atmosphere, and what we see in the nature, 21% of oxygen is coming from plants during photosynthesis. Now the leftover is the hydrogen ions. So this particular hydrogen ions which are there, okay, in step 3. So this particular hydrogen ions, so which are produced during the photolysis are accepted by special type of molecules known as NADP, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate, NADP. After accepting this hydrogen, okay, after accepting this hydrogen, then the NADP gets converted into NADPH. It gets converted into NADPH, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate hydrate, right? So this is one of the most important product produced during the first stage of the photosynthesis, that is during light reactions, right? So we have got one product here, oxygen gas, and next one more product we have got NADPH. So along with this we are getting ATP molecule, adenosine triphosphate, ATP. So this particular adenosine triphosphate is produced because of the combination of ADP and IP. Adenosine diphosphate, ADP means adenosine diphosphate. IP, I stands for inorganic, P stands for phosphate. On combination, we are getting adenosine triphosphate, TP. T stands for tri. P stands for phosphate, A stands for adenosine, adenosine triphosphate. Now this is also one of the most important product produced at the end of the light reactions. So most important question here, what are the end products of light reactions means? So the end products of light reactions are oxygen, NADPH and ATP. Now oxygen is released into the atmosphere, this is already we have discussed. Now coming to this particular, both ATP and NADPH. So these two are most important to continue the next second step of the mechanism of photosynthesis, which is called as dark reactions, right? Now these two are starting materials during the dark reactions. They are producing, they are providing one type of power, and these two, ATP and NADPH, are called as assimilatory powers. We call them as assimilatory powers. So without which the dark reactions cannot be carried out. Assimilatory powers we call it as assimilatory powers, right? Now with the presence of these assimilatory powers, ATP and NADPH, next further reaction, that is second stage of the mechanism of photosynthesis called dark reactions will continue, right? Now don't get confused with the word called as dark reactions. Dark reactions, it does not mean that the reactions are carried out during the night time. So absolutely they are carried out in the daytime itself. Immediately after the light reactions, it goes on continuation with the dark reactions. So why it is given as a dark? Because this particular type of the reactions do not require light, sunlight, even if it is there or not there also. So these reactions can be carried out. So that is why these are called as dark reactions, or these don't require light. That is why these are also called as light independent reactions. Light independent reactions. And now during this particular process, here the carbon dioxide which is taken from the atmosphere by the plants, so it gets converted into glucose molecule C6H12O6. So a new complex molecule is produced during this phase of the reactions. So that is why it is called biosynthetic phase. Biosynthetic phase. And this particular total series of reactions were discovered by a great scientist named as Melvin Kelvin. Melvin Kelvin. So that is why these reactions are also called as Melvin Kelvin cycle reactions. Melvin Kelvin cycle reactions. In the earlier topic we have seen, that is light reactions. These were studied by a great scientist named as Robert Hill. Robert Hill. So on his name. So these reactions were discovered by Robert Hill. That is why these reactions are also called as Hill reactions. Like that we have got dark reactions were studied and discovered by a great scientist named as Melvin Kelvin. So on his name it is given as Melvin Kelvin cycle reactions. Right? Now here, how the carbon dioxide is getting converted into glucose molecule. So that is what we are going to see here. Now conversion. First step is here already in the light reactions, water is being broken down and oxygen is released here. Now it's the one more raw material left over, that is carbon dioxide. So how it is, this carbon dioxide is getting converted into glucose molecule. Now what happens is the carbon molecule, that carbon dioxide molecule, inorganic substance, is utilizing the two assimilatory powers which are produced during the at the end of the light reaction. So in the presence of ATP, adenosine triphosphate, by using the energy of ATP, so carbon dioxide accepts the hydrogen of NADP. Okay, NADPH. So NADPH, nicotinamide, adenine, dinucleotide, phosphate, hydrate. So this hydrogen is removed and gets attached with the carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is accepting the hydrogen from NADPH, and in the presence of ATP, or by utilizing the ATP energy and getting converted into glucose molecule. And it's not so simple in this way, just writing the equation in one single line. So it is the most complicated equation. We have got a series of reactions are involved here. 7 to 8 steps are involved, which you are going to study in the higher classes. So it's not that directly carbon dioxide is converted into glucose molecule. There are several steps involved, and during each and every step, whenever we are getting a new substance, okay, from that particular substance, finally we get the glucose molecule. And the substances which are formed before the formation of the glucose molecule, they are called as intermediate compounds. We call them as intermediate compounds. The compounds which are used before the formation, compounds which are used before the formation of final product. What is the final product? That is a carbohydrate molecule, glucose molecule. So before the formation of glucose molecule, whatever the earlier substances we are getting, earlier products we are getting, such a type of substances are called as intermediate compounds, right? So in the beginning, the carbon dioxide reacts with a substance, so that is RuBP. So what is this RuBP? Ribulose bisphosphate called as. So let us see how the reaction takes place. So carbon dioxide molecule is reacting with a molecule called as RuBP. So what does it stand for? Ribulose. Ru stands for ribulose, B stands for bis, and P stands for phosphate. Ribulose bisphosphate, right? So this carbon dioxide contains one carbon and ribulose bisphosphate contains 5 carbons in it. 5 carbons in it. When there is a chemical reaction between carbon dioxide and RuBP, so you are getting a new molecule called as hexose. So hexose, hexa means 6. That means a new molecule which is containing 6 carbons in it. A sugar molecule with 6 carbons is called as hexose molecule, and this is highly unstable. It is highly unstable. Immediately it splits up into two molecules of phosphoglyceric acid, PGA, phosphoglyceric acid. PGA stands for phosphoglyceric acid. Each one particular phosphoglyceric acid molecule contains 3 carbons. So here you can see in the bracket whatever the numbers we are writing. Suppose here we are writing 1. 1 means 1 carbon. Here 5 means in this molecule, this is a sugar molecule containing 5 carbons, and this is a sugar molecule containing 6 carbons. And now we are getting from this particular highly unstable molecule called as hexose, we are getting 2 molecules of phosphoglyceric acid. Phosphoglyceric acid. So each one phosphoglyceric acid molecule contains 3 carbons in it. So 3 plus 3 becomes 6. So like this, the hexose molecule is split into phosphoglyceric acid, PGA. Now these particular phosphoglyceric acid molecules get converted into another molecule called PGAN. PGAN. Phosphoglyceraldehyde. Phosphoglyceraldehyde. Again, these particular phosphoglyceraldehyde molecules also do contain same 3 carbons in it. 3 plus 3, 6. So there is no loss of carbons anywhere. So finally we know that here in the glucose molecule there are 6 carbons. The formula for glucose molecule is C6H12O6. C6H12O6. So this 6 carbons, where from it is coming, that now we are going to see. So once again, so here 1 carbon from carbon dioxide, 5 carbons from RuBP, ribulose bisphosphate or biphosphate or diphosphate we can call it as. So reacts, combines to form one unstable molecule called as hexose, which contains 6 carbons, and this particular hexose molecule splits into 2 molecules of phosphoglyceric acid, PGA, phosphoglyceric acid. So these 2 phosphoglyceric acid molecules get converted into PGAL, phosphoglyceraldehyde, and now these 2 molecules of phosphoglyceraldehyde combines or undergoes a series of reactions, finally to give our required compound, that is the glucose molecule, C6H12O6. So this is how we can see the 6 carbons present in the glucose molecule comes, right? From here on, 1 plus 5, 6. 1 plus 5 becomes 6. Again this 6 is split into 3 plus 3. Again that continues as